realize you're just as naive as I am. Oh, you're so traumatized, it makes me wanna cry. You dumb bitch, I loved you, I loved you, I loved you, it's true. I wanted to be you and do what you do. Cause I loved you, and why would you lie? And then I realized you're just as naive as I am. Oh, you're so traumatized, it makes me wanna cry. You dumb bitch, I loved you, I loved you, I loved you, it's true. I wanted to be you and do what you do.
This case's twist will shock you. On the evening of 2014, Sarah Sands had downed 2 bottles of wine, put on a hoodie, and left her apartment carrying a knife. She then walked to a 77-year-old man's house named Michael Plested and took his life. She then walked back to her house and gave herself up to the police. But why did she do it? Turns out that man's name wasn't Michael Plested. He had legally changed it through a secret loophole in the law, which allows you to do so when applying for a new passport, because he was actually on the SO list for messing with children. And it turns out he had lured her 3 sons into his apartment, 12-year-old Bradley and the 11-year-old twins Alfie and Reese, and essayed them. In court, Sarah claimed that she will never be able to take the nightmares that happen to her boys away from them when they're screaming at night. She got 7.5 years, and now that she's out, she fights the law, campaigning to stop other offenders from changing their name through that same loophole. Did you see the secret question I hid in this video?
This is gonna scare you though. I don't know if
No, do it. I love those stories.
This is a real story. So lately I've been feeling kind of not myself.
What?
Yeah. And you know I'm religious. I'm very religious. So I decided to go to church on a Wednesday.
Oh, okay. That's sick.
So I went to church and this is gonna sound scary to you, but
yeah,
when it came time for like communion, you know, when you get the bread, the Eucharist.
Yeah.
This is kind of fucked to say, but like I was walking toward the priest and I had this urge to laugh. Yeah, fam.
Whoa.
Yeah, no, like I had this urge to like burst out laughing. I was scared, right? I just kept praying and then, you know what I mean, locked it away like. Yeah. And then one night I had a dream. It was like I heard someone screaming. I was in the living room and I heard someone screaming for their life. They were like screaming like, get me out! Like screaming. This is exactly what I heard in my head. You're gonna get scared. Okay. This is exactly what I heard in my head.
This is the father-daughter incest case that turned into a murder. You guys, this one is disgusting, and if I had to hear it, then so do you. Hi, I'm Julie. I talk about true crime, dark history, and all things weird and spooky, so if that's what you're into, please give me a follow and also follow my Instagram. Okay, so you're gonna need a backstory. In 1995, when Stephen Plattle was 20 years old, he met and groomed 15-year-old Alyssa on the internet. He traveled to San Antonio, Texas to begin a sexual relationship with her. And then, Alyssa ran away with Stephen to begin a life with him in New York. Alyssa is his first wife, by the way. Alyssa became pregnant at 16, and then they had their first baby when she turned 17 years old, and they named her Denise Plattle. According to Alyssa, Stephen inflicted torturous abuse on their daughter Denise. He pinched her and beat her till she was black and blue, and even tried to drown her multiple times. Alyssa decided to put Denise up for adoption because she didn't believe that Denise would have a chance at life if she lived with Stephen. Anthony and Kelly Fusco adopted Denise and renamed her Katie Rose Fusco. In August 2016, when Katie was 18 years old, she reached out to her biological parents Stephen and Alyssa Plattle on Facebook. They met in Knightdale, North Carolina, and Katie then decided to move in with Stephen and Alyssa and their 2 children. By the time Katie moved in, Stephen and Alyssa had actually agreed to separate, so they were sleeping in different bedrooms. Over the following months, Stephen and Katie became incredibly close. In May 2017, Alyssa read in one of her children's diaries that Katie and Stephen were involved in sexual activity and that Katie was pregnant. She read that her 2 children were told that Katie was their stepmother. Alyssa called Stephen immediately, and then he confirmed that this abusive, incestuous relationship was true and that she was actually pregnant. Alyssa then called the police, as she should. On July 20, 2017, Stephen and Katie got married and lied on their marriage documents saying that they weren't related. The wedding was attended by Stephen's mother and Katie's adoptive parents. It just baffles me that they attended this disgusting wedding. There is no way that these people didn't know that they were related. Katie gave birth to her own father's baby and named him Bennett Kieran Plattle in September 2017. In January 2018, Katie and Stephen were arrested for incest charges. The judge ordered that Katie and Stephen have no contact with each other and that Bennett would go into the custody of Stephen's mother. Following their release bond, Katie decided to move back in with her adoptive parents, and she told Steven that she did not want to continue with this relationship. Sorry guys, come back for part 2 because I don't have the 10-minute feature.
So everybody knows about the Yellowstone hot spring and how most of the pools are 150 degrees Fahrenheit and some even reaching up to 205 degrees Fahrenheit. But did you hear about the tragic horror stories of people actually going in them and being boiled alive? Well, today I'm going to tell you about 3 of those tragic stories, and they didn't end so well. So there was a dude named Colin Scott, right? He was 23, he had just graduated college in 2016, and decided after graduation, he was going to travel to his sister, and then they would take a trip to Yellowstone National Park. Once they arrived, all hell broke loose. So Colin and his sister started walking along the boardwalk, which you're supposed to stay on, but decided to go off the boardwalk and up a mountain. The plan was to find a hot spring cool enough to swim in. Mind you, there is multiple signs saying to stay on the boardwalk. Do not go on the grounds. There is hot steam and hot water that can melt you alive. So they find a hot spring, right? They're like, I think this is the one. Colin's like, yo, I'm about to go feel the hot spring, see if it's too hot. While reaching down to feel the temperature of the water, Colin slips. Colin, how do you do the most generic movie thing in the world? Mind you, his sister is filming everything. She frantically tried to grab him, but the water was over 212 degrees, guys. He was done as soon as he landed in that pool. She tried to call, but her phone wasn't having service. But eventually she got through. Rescuers came and they could not do anything. They couldn't even go in to retrieve Colin's body. And eventually it had fully dissolved. All that was left was like his boots. This is why you should listen to signs when they warn you not to do something. The next one is a little bit more sad and maybe a little bit more understandable. David Kerwin. Now David and his friend Ronald Ratliff went out to enjoy a beautiful day at Yellowstone, but they had also brought their dog, but responsibly left him in the car. After stopping to look at one of the springs, Colin's dog escaped the car. They should have left it locked. I don't know if it got through the window or the door, but they should have left it locked, and they should have had the door cracked a bit. The dog then ran towards them, became so excited, and jumped in the pool that they were looking at. The water was 202 degrees that day. You can guess what happened next. The dog was suffering, and David could no longer watch his dog suffer, so he starts taking off his clothes, getting ready to jump in. A bystander that was watching them said, "No, don't go in there." David goes, "Like hell I won't," and jumps in the pool. Just wings it. He tries his best to grab his dog. But let me remind you, that water is boiling hot. It was a wasted effort. And David's body was so badly burned that he was blind, and most of his skin was falling off his bone. A park visitor tried to comfort David when he got out of the pool. And when they tried to take off his shoe, the boot was melted to David. So when they were pulling off the shoe, his foot was also coming off with the boot. David was rushed to the hospital, but sadly succumbed to his injuries. Now, this one's a huge mystery, but y'all let me know in the comments what you think happened, because I suspect foul play. Don Cressy. In 1975, a few friends who were employees at the Yellowstone Spring decided they were gonna sneak out one night and go into one of the hot springs. Have a little party, you know, they knew the springs well, they knew which springs to jump into, which springs not to jump into, which ones were okay to swim in. So they invite Don, right? And Don's like, okay, I'm coming through. I'll see you guys tonight. He was a 21-year-old chef who's worked there as well for about 3 summers, so he knew the place like the back of his hand. Yeah, Don didn't end up making it to that party that night. Don was found by a child who was at the Yellowstone Springs floating in one of the hottest pools there. When the child got his parents and the parents called for help, police suspected that it was just an accident. But his co-workers suspect foul play because, one, Don didn't drive his car there, so somebody had to have drove Don to the Yellowstone Park. Also, the pool Don was in was so far away from the party's location. Why was he even that far? You see, police came up with the conclusion that Don had accidentally jumped into the wrong pool while looking for the party. Don had worked there for 3 summers. How could Don have jumped in the wrong pool? He knew the place like the back of his hand. Seems fishy to me.